Hello, this is Todd Shank from Premier FPL. I apologize for taking so long to get back on here. Had a lot of stuff going on recently, so just made it difficult to find the time to do this. I would say that the other hard part was keeping up with my own fantasy team. Had a couple issues, mainly being the Friday deadline a couple weeks back. I ended up not being able to get on in time. I really probably should have made my changes either early Friday before going to work or Thursday night, but ended up not being able to get on in time. And so a lot of the moves that I had wanted to make, I ended up not even being able to make since I missed the deadline. That was when I had planned to drop Salah for Hazard, but that didn't work out. I've actually ended up keeping Salah, which, hasn't gone too terribly bad for me. So this is actually my current team going into this weekend. I've held off on using my wild card. I'm thinking that I'll probably now at this point use it for the international break coming up. I had thought about using it after this last one, but looking ahead at some of the fixtures, decided to keep Salah and Mane in there. They were two of them that I was considering dropping. Kind of worked out. Had a whole bunch of yellow, orange, red in my team last week, but Mane ended up going to my bench. Actually, I can pull up my points from last week. I didn't do all that great, but you can see Mane dropped to the bench, which brought Wan-Bissaka in. Yeah, so some of the reasons that I would consider using my wild card before the break is just to dump some of this fodder that I have sitting around here. Kearney, Me's not producing, Wan-Bissaka, would really like to get rid of them. About the only way to do that, I'm really trying to avoid doing the -4s, so that's kind of where I am at right now. Alright, so for this week, I wanted to focus on the fixtures coming up and taking a look at specific teams and trying to build, looking ahead for the next 5 game weeks. There is going to be another international break, but I put in the next 5 because it will include that international break in there, as well as I think there's a FA Cup weekend in there after the no I guess it is just the international break in there. Anyway, so as you can see here, I have my fixtures difficulty ranking. I've gone in and created kind of my own kind of ranking system to take a look at it, and this is kind of what I came up with for my ranking system. So looking ahead for the next 5 game weeks, the top teams to really consider are Liverpool, Man City, Chelsea, even Brighton is up there, a good differential pick in there, Leicester City, Wolverhampton, Arsenal. Everton could be another decent differential. It's interesting how high Newcastle came out on this. When I was going through it, I wasn't so sure, but I think looking at their fixtures, I was taking in consideration some of the FPL, in terms of FPL as well, scoring potential, potential for clean sheets for defenders as well. But yeah, and I'm also surprised that Crystal Palace came out as high as they did. I thought they would have dropped a lot lower, but I actually haven't been able to update all of the colors on here. Some of the colors have changed. If anybody is exceptionally good at Excel and could give me some tips on how to, I understand conditional formatting and all that, but I can do that, but just haven't taken the time to go in and update all of the colors that I have now. So anyway, moving on. Taking a look at some of the players to really target. For Liverpool, it is mainly the top 3 there: Robertson, Salah, Mane. Their selected percentages kind of show where they're at. 21.5 for Firmino. Alexander-Arnold, he's a big one, mostly because of his 5.1 price tag. So right here, 5.1 price tag is part of why he is at 19.2%, even though he's only put in 36 points. Somebody to consider. If you want more of a differential, you could go with Joe Gomez, who has got the 3 points more. Thinking it has more to do with his extra playing time than anything else. Yeah, since Alexander-Arnold hasn't played the last couple of matches. The big one is that a couple of these matches where he was in did pick up a lot of points. So if he is going to end up playing against some of these teams, if they have like Cardiff, Arsenal is going to be one. I see them scoring goals. Fulham at home. So Cardiff and Fulham at home alone are two of the big ones to really think about. Targeting them. I would say, yeah, these are definitely feel good about bringing in Salah or bringing in Robertson and Mane. I don't know that I would recommend bringing Salah if you don't already have him, just because of that price tag there. I mean, Robertson picking up more points than Salah already, not really a great sign for him. Not scoring at the same rate he did last year. From some of the statistics I've heard, he's been missing a lot more big chances than he did last year. Last year he did miss quite a few, so he's not really a great striker. He just usually gets a lot of chances and is able to put them away. This year, not putting them away, hence the drop in form. But if you don't have the money for Robertson, I would recommend Van Dijk instead. 5.9 means he's worth it. 15% is still a little higher than really being a good differential pick, but still overall solid pick. His 5.3 comes from 2 clean sheets in a row here. Definitely picking up the clean sheet bonuses. So if we look at it, definitely see a clean sheet against Cardiff, Fulham, even this Watford-Everton. I mean, the derbies are always difficult, but even against Watford, could see them picking up a clean sheet. All right, moving on. City, they're City. They're going to score goals. I would say the big one with City. Do I not have them up? Okay, I don't have them up. I'll pull them up. The main one with City here, I would say look at bringing in Mendy. He's already going up. He is definitely a solid one. I'm actually considering bringing him in for Alonso, but I'll get to that here in a little bit. Bernardo Silva is a very interesting one. 7.6 is right on that cusp of being good value. The big thing with him is that last week was second time that he was yanked off before 60 minutes. Not a great sign, but was still able to get 6 points from scoring the goal. He's really been involved in play, and up until last week, he was playing fairly consistently in 90 minutes. I actually didn't get a chance to look at what was going on midweek to see who was playing for City in their Champions League matches, but yeah, he's one to consider if you don't have him. 9.6% is on the low side, so getting a little bit of a differential, at least as far as City players go. 51% ownership of Aguero. I'm definitely recommending bringing in Aguero. I would say hold off on Sterling. The main reason to hold off on him is right here. His time spent playing. I guess actually what I could do is look at who did play in their midweek match. So bear with me here. I'm going to pull it up and see who they did have playing, because that'll definitely make a difference. All right, so looks like Bernardo Silva did play. Mahrez played. Jesus played. Sterling played. So since Sterling did play midweek, don't be surprised to see him sitting on the bench again for this weekend. That's part of why I'm not bringing him in. I had him for most of last season, but I don't like his lack of playing time. I don't like the rotation there. Seeing that De Bruyne played midweek, yeah, kind of hit or miss on whether or not he's actually going to play this weekend, but he's one that I'm also considering bringing in for Mane. That one's still up in the air. My Mane and Alonso swaps are kind of the ones that I have up in the air right now. But anyway, as far as players go for Man City, I would say the ones that I mean, you can really target just about anybody. Fernandinho is a solid pick here in the middle. 5.4 is a good 5% ownership, a good differential as far as picking up some value in midfield. David Silva, you can't really go wrong with him. He has pretty solid numbers, including playing most of the match. Even when he does play, picking up assists, picking up clean sheets. So either one of the Silvas you could go with. Bernardo Silva has the lower price point, so some of those to consider. Mendy, definitely, I'm thinking about bringing him in. It's interesting to see Laporte kind of moving up the ranks here. A lot of these are from the clean sheet bonuses, and if we look at their fixtures, I don't know that they're being able to keep a clean sheet against Tottenham, but Southampton they should. Wouldn't be surprised if they do against United. West Ham, Bournemouth, all good shouts for some clean sheets coming up. So same thing if you're wanting to bring in a higher price goalkeeper with Ederson. All right, so the next one on the list here is Chelsea. Looking ahead, they have Burnley, Crystal Palace at home, Everton at home, Tottenham away, and Fulham at home. Very solid picks. I think the toughest one there is going to be that Tottenham match. You never know with Crystal Palace. London derbies, never know when they're going to turn up. Burnley has been pretty bad this season, so I see Chelsea getting some goals here. Hazard currently listed as 75% chance playing. Now, I would not be at all surprised to see him sit on the bench against Burnley. Give him a chance to rest. They did just play. They did just play yesterday, so it's Friday now. They did just play on Thursday. Their matches on Sunday. It was a pretty short turnaround, so wouldn't be surprised to see him sitting on the bench. Which, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised to see several players on the bench, and that could mean that Burnley does have a better chance to pull something out of this one. Jorginho makes a lot of passes in midfield, but he's kind of the guy who assists the assister. Not really picking up a whole lot of points other than playing points, so I'd say to avoid him. Pedro has dropped off in recent weeks, not playing, so that's kind of a tough one. Willian, pretty solid pick here. I could see him getting more playing time going forward. He's already 70 minutes the last 3 matches, so a decent one. Rudiger is interesting. He's mainly picking up points from these goals and assists. He's starting to get forward a lot more, and Alonso has not been really picking up the offensive points in recent weeks. I think he's being told to sit back a lot more, and Rudiger's mainly getting his goals from set pieces. So it's an interesting one, and this part of why I'm thinking of dumping Alonso, because he is being held back. Not really the same attacking threat that he was before. He's not the wing back that he was before. He's being expected to be more of a traditional fullback, where his defensive duties are more important. Barkley is a very interesting one, mostly because he has his 2 goals in his last 2 matches, along with an assist. Not playing full matches, but if he keeps that up, I could see him getting a lot more playing time moving forward. Could get in early with him. 5.7 cost, 1.2% ownership. Great differential here. Great way to get a Chelsea player into your midfield at a very low cost. All right, so Brighton is definitely the... so I'm just going to sort here. I forget what. There we go. Team selected by. Definitely the differentials here. The main reason for Suttner being picked at 5.1% is because of his costs. I don't think he's played a single minute this season, but at 3.9, you get a lot of teams. Yeah, not a lot. I guess 5%, but 5% of teams that put him in just to free up some extra space there. So, all right, Stevens is one who is playing fairly frequently, and at 4.4 is a very low pick for your midfield. Not saying that I would necessarily recommend it, but something to think about. It's an easy way to get a Brighton player into that midfield that might be getting some playing time. Actually, let me find him again. I think he has... Yeah, he did played a full 90 minutes last week. So, pretty decent way to bring somebody in at only 4.4 in your midfield. Pascal Gross currently out. So, that's kind of a tough one. He was in my team last year. He was a big one. That's why he's at 6.7 and not at the lower, 5 point whatever and below. Glenn Murray, depending on how he's done with his head injury, could see him playing. See Brighton playing Wolverhampton. It's going to be a tough one. They're at home, so I wouldn't be surprised to see that Murray is out there playing. They've got some decent, so Dunk, Bong, Duffy the top one here, 4.5. Solid defense there, good one to go with. I don't know if I would recommend picking him for this week, but looking ahead, Cardiff, Huddersfield, great weeks to bring in their defense. Could set yourself up for those matches going forward. All right, so Leicester, Maddison here at the top. Maddison is a good, I've recommended him before. He is only going up in cost and only going up in his selection percentages. So if you want to get in early with him, I think you're a little bit late now, but still time. Pick him up. Again, great fixtures going forward. West Ham at home, Cardiff away, Burnley at home, Brighton away, Watford at home. I feel like the toughest ones there are West Ham and Watford. Burnley has been something of a pushover, so this is a great time to pick up some of these Leicester players. Maddison, Pereira, even Iheanacho, 5.9 for a forward. Good, solid, kind of a differential forward at a low cost. It can free up some space to bring in Aguero if you need to. Then I think the last ones here are kind of Arsenal or Arsenal has Aubameyang. It's kind of it's a tough one. Lacazette had his streak back here a few weeks, but more recently it has been Aubameyang. He's the one, 6 goals this season, 2 assists. 10.8 is kind of a tough one. You're going to have to trade somebody out for him. I feel like with Arsenal's fixtures coming up, it's whether or not you really believe in their attack and whether they can actually pull it off. They've been so hot and cold, and I don't know. I just have a hard time buying into them. I know lots of other people have. Maybe it's just a bias from the last couple of seasons, and they really have turned the corner. If you believe that they really have turned the corner, I would definitely recommend bringing Aubameyang. Bellerin, 5.4 isn't too bad for a defender, especially somebody who does get forward fairly frequently. Already has 4 assists this season, so a good solid pick to go with there. The only issue is they do have Liverpool and Tottenham in these next run of fixtures, so you're really going to be relying on him picking up attacking points as opposed to clean sheet points. Ramsey, 2.3% ownership is a good differential. The only issue is his 7.4 price tag makes it difficult to really slot him in there. Recent weeks he's done a little bit better. Not so great against Leicester, mainly because it's just 10 minutes played, but again, decent pick there. All right, so looking ahead at my own team here, I am I'm still planning to keep Salah. I will probably end up keeping Mane. It's going to be kind of a matter of what I'm doing with the likes of like Fraser, Wilson, even Alonso. The main issue with Alonso being his price tag and knowing that he's not really getting forward like he has been in the past. So I don't know what to do with him. Still want to drop Wan-Bissaka at some point. I can only see his price tag dropping, and I would like to get out while I still can. Planning to keep Patricio and Fabianski. So Wolverhampton, decent fixtures coming up. So lining up fairly decently for to swap out. So this week playing Patricio. Then when Wolverhampton play Tottenham and Arsenal, I can put in Fabianski against Burnley and Huddersfield, and then swap back with Wolverhampton playing Huddersfield, West Ham playing Man City, and then Wolverhampton playing Cardiff. Good time to just keep Patricio in there. So I do like that. They're both at 4.5. Did I bring them in? Oh, I did bring them in when they were 4.5, and both of them, well, Patricio has gone up in value. So, yeah, I like that. The main ones that I'm considering dropping, it's really tough for me because I have enough to play with here. I do have my 2 free transfers, so I have enough to play with that I can make 2 transfers here. It's just really tough because I don't really want Alonso. I don't want Bissaka. I don't want me. Fraser's kind of on the down now. Wilson kind of dropping out now. Kearney. I'm okay with keeping Arnautovic and Pereira. So I feel like there is enough in there. It's just the Bournemouth players. You have Fulham here, but then several of these matches coming up aren't going to be great for them. So, yeah, I'm not really quite sure what I'm going to do with them. I do know I am still planning after this Game Week 13 to use my wild card to prep for Game Week 14, and then moving on, we have getting real close to those Christmas fixtures, so want to set myself up well for that. Anyway, so yeah, for this weekend, you can't go wrong captaining Salah, Mane, Aguero. I'm leaning towards captaining Salah, captaining Mane, and putting the vice captain on Salah. Aguero, I mean, he can score against anybody, but they are playing Tottenham, so it's a little bit of a tougher pick there. If you do have Hazard, could definitely go with him for your captain. I think I would hold off on Kane. I mean, unless he's your only big player that you have in there, but Tottenham, Kane against Man City, I don't know. I don't really see him getting a goal. Now, watch him prove me wrong. Aubameyang, another great shout for a captain if you have him. All right, so I guess